What's up, everybody? DigiDustin here, and today on day 3 of Digimon Christmas, I had a Diaboromon pick. I'm very hard. We're going to talk about some of the differences between the English and the Asian market. Now, obviously, most of the differences are well known. However, a lot of people assume that we just have hype prices right now for all of our products, and that we should use Japanese prices for finding out what their final price will be. And that's simply not the case. There's just first of all, there's a ton of different things that go into the value of a product, but we'll talk about that in one of the other days. For now, I just want to focus on some of the things that are going to create value disparities between the English market and the Japanese market. So, let's look at what we get in this pack. It is 2 days of Diaboromon in a row. The first big difference I'd like to talk about between the two markets is time. Because we're playing catch-up, we have this super pre-sale in November, and then in January we get our official launch, and in February we get 1.5. We are essentially getting 3 booster boxes in technically 4 months, but since we got this pre-sale at the end of November, it's more like 3 months. It's 3 booster boxes in 3 months. A booster box a month. And while that's great, I come from Card Fight, so I have no problem with getting a new set every month. One of the big differences comes into play when you consider that Japan, with their releases, I shouldn't say the Asian market, they ended up getting their sets separated by a good 2 or 3 months. This is very important because, first of all, it gives the hype plenty of time to die down. The hype for set 1 is still going to be alive and kicking when set 1.5 comes out. But also, this allows cards from the set to be dispersed over the secondary market and get into the hands of pretty much everybody that wants them over that time frame. Yes, there's always going to be a demand for cards from that set. Like, Omnimon is always going to be sought after, but it's not going to be sought after as much. It allows prices to come down in favor of cards from new sets, like set 2 or set 3. We haven't had that time. We're not going to have that time for quite a while, and I can't speak too much to supply. I've heard that when we get our official launch in January that it's going to also be short printed, but I'm not positive, and considering Dragon Ball Super is also at big name retailers like Walmart and whatnot, I don't know if Digimon will follow suit. If it does, then supply will definitely be there, but that's wait and see. But another big difference between the markets is the amount of cards in each box, as well as the selection of cards in each box. And by that, I mean that while Japan's boxes contain roughly like 50 commons and 40 uncommons and whatnot, we have a decent bit more. However, we also are receiving about double the amount of product within each box that they are. And as such, our boxes are almost doubled in price. It's actually a pretty good marketing strategy, considering they have to raise prices for shipping and the like. So it gives us a similar return on our investments. But in better news for us, while we are receiving almost double the product, so while they receive like I believe 3 super rares in a box, 1 secret rare or alt art, and 1 rare for every pack, except for those that contain the super rares, but still 24 packs, I believe. We're getting double that. We're getting 7 super rares, so that's more than double. And we're getting 2 rares a pack aside from the 9 hits. We're getting 2 either alt arts or a secret rare and an alt art, which could be a secret rare. But we're having double the quantity of them without necessarily having double the amount of commons, uncommons, rares, super rares, and stuff in the box. Which means that overall we should actually be seeing much more of all of these than they do per purchase. So, to be seen whether the price differential on boxes themselves end up increasing our prices or decreasing them. Because, again, we are actually seeing a decent bit more for our money than they are. But the final note that I'd like to point out, we got a Raremon and a Shield of the Just. So we haven't seen our second hit yet. Is that Shield of the Just is just a good of an example as any. This is from set 2, not set 1 or set 3. And what this means is that we have different super rares competing with each other than the Japanese market. So when they buy a set out of set 1, they know they're looking for Omnimon. I mean, when we buy it, we're mostly looking for Omnimon too. He is the money card right now. However, in set 1, Omnimon is pretty much the go-to meta card. There isn't really much else. Green didn't do anything in set 1 really. Blue had Metal Garurumon, which was nice, but for blue and red, you still want to just kind of run the vanilla starter decks to get to Omnimon. And yellow didn't do anything until set 2 with Shine Greymon. Now, in our version 1.0, we have Omnimon, Piedmon, and Lilithmon from 3 separate sets, but they're all viable in the meta, which means that Piedmon already had competition with Shine Greymon, but now he's competing with Omnimon. Omnimon actually has other meta competition, which should, in the end, kind of bring his price down a little bit compared to the Japanese variant. Well, again, it's hard to say because there's a variety of factors going into place, such as the fact that maybe they don't get as many Omnimon, or maybe because their boxes are significantly cheaper than ours. They can get more Omnimon for less, but overall our Omnimon should be brought down because of the Piedmons and Lilithmons in the set, and the Beelzemons. And when we get set 1.5, Shine Greymon will now be competing with Ceresmon. Now, I'm not too caught up with the meta, but I know that Ceresmon essentially dominated from set 3. I'm not sure if there's anything else from set 3 that necessarily brought the other decks to the next level that would have the same value, but now Ceresmon is competing with Shine Greymon. So, while obviously there's going to be similarities, we're still working with the same cards, even though some super rares have been actually lowered in rarity, and some alt arts have been designated to promos. And on that note, some promos are now considered box toppers, so they're actually competing with the cards in the set in that way. So now you're not just looking for Omnimon, you're also looking for Piedmon, Lilithmon, as well as the V-Tamer Tai, and to a lesser extent, Beedramon Zero. So it's really hard to say what these differences will do in the grand scheme of things, whether they'll serve to increase prices or decrease them. However, it's certainly unfair to say that our prices should match the Japanese market because they absolutely should not. There's too many big variables for that to happen. Anyway, that was the pack opening for today. Until next time, guys, stay wholesome.